Welcome everyone to this webinar on going for zero downtime with the new dual controllers that we've brought out in the last week or so. My name is James Blake, and I'm a product manager here at Synology UK. I mainly focus on backup solutions, but I also focus on virtualization environments, which of course two big key areas of infrastructure that you do want to have maximum uptime. So there's a few things that we're kind of going to take a bit of a look over today. So first off, we'll take a look at, what does highly available mean? We'll then take a look at those new systems that came out in the last week or two. So the new UC3400 and also the SA3400D. And then we'll take a bit more of a look at actually how the technology works, and let's kind of we'll take a look at it in action. So let's kind of start right at the beginning. Just very kind of briefly, I understand that dual controllers are not kind of a main thing within the Synology range, so we're trying to improve that. But let's kind of take a bit of a look at what exactly does highly available mean? Well, actually, if we take a bit of a look at outage. So obviously, there's two main aspects as to why you might have downtime. Now, obviously, first off is planned outages. So whether you're doing updates, upgrades, improvements, bits and pieces like that, then obviously you can plan around this, and you can schedule this around. If you work during the day, then you can schedule this at night to happen, or at weekends, etc. But then the other side of it is obviously unplanned outages. If maybe you had a power cut, a network connectivity issue. Excuse me there, or something similar, or even actually something slightly more malicious like a ransomware attack or something like that. All of these are issues that can cause downtime. Now, actually, we kind of did a bit of a survey, and we kind of discovered that in the IT industry, it's roughly equivalent to about £500,000, so £500,000 per hour of downtime. Now, obviously, when you step up to enterprises, we're talking much higher numbers. So we're talking £5 million per hour in terms of what the cost is to that organization. But that's also not just critical infrastructure. But when we're looking at healthcare, it's a smaller number, £600,000 per hour. But actually, that is also particularly a key area, because that's people's lives that potentially at risk if we're dealing with any downtime. Now, of course, there's ways around this. So what we can do, we can build a highly available solution. So we've got our simple networks, we've got our NAS connecting to our switch, which is then connecting to all of our endpoint clients. Now, again, we can make this highly available by simply adding a second system and clustering it together. So also just put the heartbeat connection in there as well. And this is going to then act as our highly available solution. So if the NAS were to go down for whatever reason, then it means that the second system can take up exactly where it left off. Now, of course, this still has one kind of point of failure. So what we could actually do if we really wanted to is we can then actually incorporate a second switch, connect that into all of our endpoints, and then again connect that into each of our host nodes as well. But this kind of getting a bit of a tangent. If you do want to build any kind of super available solutions like shown on screen, do come and have a chat with me afterwards, or email the UK_sales email address, and we'll be able to help kind of build some solutions around that, or answer any of your questions. So we're kind of taking a look at some of the options that we've got. But actually, if we kind of take a look at what were some real world numbers when it comes to this? Well, as you can see here, we've got 99%. If we take 99% data availability, you think that, that's actually a pretty good deal, isn't it? Because we've got 1% downtime. That's still a scary number when you actually think about it, because it still means that your data is not available for 3.5 days of the year. Now, you might be lucky, and that might be a weekend or over Christmas or something when people aren't using it. But it is likely that you're going to have some downtime during the working hours, which is going to cause potential issues. Now, if we look at a single controller Synology solution, And if you actually did every single update last year that happened with the DSM operating system, you took roughly about 10 minutes to do that update. Well, then you'd be looking at 3 nines worth of data availability. So that still means that's pretty good going. It still means you've got 8 hours where you don't have access to that data. For that, you can kind of schedule around everything. Now, obviously, this works for single environment organizations, single office organizations, etc. But what happens if you're maybe slightly larger and you have global environments, or you've got infrastructure that needs to be up overnight? Well, actually, this is where some of our dual controller systems come in. So with this, we're actually able to offer 6 nines worth of data availability, or in other words, 30 seconds worth of downtime, and that's purely just the switchover times when doing those updates. So that is a huge improvement in terms of uptime. Now, again, of course, the global trend is actually towards 9 nines or even 11 nines worth of data availability, which means that we're even less than 30 microseconds worth of data availability. And so this is where we're aiming for. But we're working that way with our on-site systems. So we're kind of taking a look at some of exactly what highly available means, and how we can access, or how readily accessible our data is. So let's take a look at actually the Synology dual controller lineup. So obviously this actually started back in 2015 with the RC18015XS Plus, which is actually just a compute node, or rather 2 compute nodes that could be clustered together, and then coupled with a load of expansion units to offer a highly available solution. Now, the technology, the software that this was based on, was actually then released on a load of our other systems, so you can still utilize this today. So Synology High Availability, and that's available, I believe, on everything from a Plus series and upwards in terms of these systems. Now, obviously, what was the next step? Well, actually incorporating all of that into a single system. So in 2019, we launched our SA3200D and also the UC Unified Controller 3200 as well. So this is kind of where the product lineup sits at the moment. So obviously, we're always looking for that next best thing. So what's kind of next in terms of this? Well, of course, it is the SA3400D, which is, of course, one of our active passive dual controllers. And alongside this, we've also got the UC3400 as well, which is, again, an active dual controller, just like the SA3200D and the UC3200 systems as well. Now, of course, I'm sure you're all very much aware of these systems, but what is the actual kind of the specs, what's going underneath the hood of these systems? Well, as you can see here, we've got the SA3400D, which incorporates an Intel Xeon D1541, which, of course, as you all well know, it's an 8-core Intel Xeon processor, and it's very similar to our SA3410 system, or some of our XS Plus racks as well. But then again, how does this kind of compare with the UC3400? So again, we've got very similar naming conventions with 3400. So actually, underneath the hood, it's exactly the same hardware, which means that what exactly are the differences? Well, that's easy. So obviously, we've already mentioned that the SA unit is an active-passive dual controller, and the UC3400 is an active-active dual controller. Well, what does this kind of mean software-wise? Well, obviously, the SA3400D is a full NAS. So it means you have all of the file protocols. You've got a full package center. So if you want to run active backup, you want to run Mail Plus, you want to run SAN Manager, you want to run VPN server, all of that can all be done on the same system. However, because it's running a full operating system and it's an active-passive dual controller nodes, it means that the failover can take a little bit longer. So we always quote up to 60 seconds. It'll always be, or pretty much always be below that. But that's kind of in a worst-case scenario, we'd be looking at about 60 seconds. But then the UC3400, being that active dual controller, means that we can fail over much faster. But also, it's designed for a slightly different use case. So it's designed purely for those iSCSI, and actually something that I've mentioned here is fiber channel workflows as well. So looking at storage sitting behind a virtualization environment or as a dedicated SAN. Now, actually, this means that we only have restricted packages. So I believe the main ones are snapshot replication and VPN plus server. So yeah, if you did want to run something like Active Backup or Mail Plus server, maybe one of the active passive dual controllers might be a better solution for that. But yeah, the UC3400 does offer a huge kind of performance boost for those iSCSI workloads. So, well, I've just mentioned that kind of performance of that. Well, how does it kind of compare to the previous system? Well, as you can see here, the UC3400 can actually hit 700,000 IOPS in terms of, I think there were 4 kilobytes or 4 kilobits iSCSI IOPS. Well, the UC3200, the slightly smaller brother of that system, can only hit 445,000 IOPS. So actually, that is an improvement of over 57% just in terms of the same models, or rather the units within that model lineup. And again, yeah, it's a similar kind of specification on the SA3400D compared to the SA3200D as well. So I guess, yeah, we're kind of taking a look at the systems. We've taken a look at what highly available means. Well, how does it actually kind of all work? And let's kind of see it in action. So obviously, previously we had our NAS, and we connect that to our switch with a network connection. And we had a second NAS, which we could then pair this using a high availability cluster. Well, essentially what we've done with those dual controller systems is smash those two NASes together. And so we've got two distinct NASes running in one chassis. Now, what effect does this actually have? Well, previously, actually, before we even had dual controller systems, we obviously had snapshot replication. So you could replicate the data from NAS A onto NAS B. Now, this is great because it means that you can switch over workloads. But again, that's potentially going to take over a minute per system that you need to redirect onto NAS B. So if you've got a load of virtual machines that need to be redirected, they all need to be redirected individually. Then if you want a load of backup systems, they'll also need to be redirected individually. And so, yeah, that's not to say snapshot replication doesn't have its place, and it is a brilliant package, but it is a little bit on the slow side when it comes to these high uptime solutions. So obviously, this is where that high availability cluster comes in, and this allows us to have full failovers in less than 1 minute in terms of failover time. Now, obviously, the high availability cluster and actually the SA30, the SA system, the SA dual controller systems are actually very similar in terms of how they fail over. So obviously, this is less than 1 minute in terms of failover time. But again, actually, it's not just that. Obviously, yeah, the SA unit is a single system, so it helps reduce management, helps reduce upfront cost, and improves maintainability of these systems over a standard high availability cluster as well. But then if we're wanting absolute maximum failover time, then that active dual controller of the UC series means that, we're actually going to get failover times of less than 30 seconds. And actually, you know what? We've had enough of me talking. Let's actually kind of take a look at that in action. So here what we've got is we've got a load of services running on a UC3400. So we've got some web services, we're compiling some code, we're doing an IO meter stress test, and also we're doing some log collection services. Now, actually, we're running this on both controller A and controller B at the same time. And you can kind of see the performance that we've got. But what happens if we just pull out one of those controllers? So we're simulating a controller failure here. Now we can see services on controller A have gone back down to 0. Let's just wait and see how it picks up. There you go, 11 seconds worth of failover time, and we're back up and running exactly as we were before. And all of those services are now running off of controller B. So yeah, it's a kind of a really kind of powerful and fast tool for managing or maintaining that uptime. Now, again, we kind of showcase everything. Obviously, if you want to try this in your own environment, that's always kind of the next step. Well, we do have a full test and buy program where you can test any of the number of systems that we've mentioned today. So if you do have any particular project that you're looking for, anything like this, do come and have a discussion with us or email in at UK_sales@synology.com. But otherwise, let's just kind of cover what we've taken a brief look into. So again, yeah, we've taken a look at what does highly available mean. So yeah, how we can actually access our data and maintain maximum uptime of our data. We've taken a look at those new systems, so the UT3400 and the SA3400D, and then we've also taken a quick look into actually how does it work.